Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 873. On today's show, I am first going to talk to you about an email outage that I am living through right now, not only for my company, but for many of our clients. And so that's going to be the lead off, and that's going to be where I get on my soapbox and take on SherWeb and throw them under the bus. So that's first. And then additional stories from the tech support trenches. And oh, there are many, including Microsoft doing Office updates and messing up Outlook this week. All sorts of problems. Then I want to demonstrate Hekasoft, a whole bunch of free software, including backing up the data and information from a lot of programs. Going to be very cool. More on juice jacking. Boy, did that hit a nerve with you. Listeners have been emailing me, and I got some more emails on that. And then we're going to wrap it up with a fun website, On This Day website. So as I get started, I had my whole lineup for today, everything that I wanted to talk about. And then at 3 o'clock, I start getting phone calls. And the phone calls were, I'm not receiving email. And just to make sure, I went and I tested sending an email. So a lot of my clients, they started sending messages from their Hotmail account or their Gmail account and wasn't coming in. But you can send a message and get no bounce back and no error. Well, that means that the SMTP servers are up and running, but the Exchange servers inbound are not. They're not delivering mail. So the first thing and this is SherWeb, and this has been from 2:30, and it's now 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 hours. Still going through the outage. And the first thing I'm going to do is demonstrate what is going on by going to the status page. And I'm going to show everybody the status page for SherWeb. And let me display my screen. And if you take a look at the first incident in red there, where it is that the update? Oh, well, here, the main incident that started at 2:30, they say the potential issue detected on our services and the status is now closed for Exchange 2016. Now there's an update at 2:30. A possible issue affecting Exchange 2016. Well, it wasn't a possible issue, and they're saying symptoms include email latency. It's not email latency, it's email down. Let's call a spade here. They are not being transparent. And here, as they go forward, at 4:03, our system administrators have identified the cause and services are restored. Emails will slowly start. And then at 6:03, the services have returned to normal. No, they haven't. They've closed the ticket. I've responded to tech support. I even called in the pre-show, and I was playing it for everybody who's here in the pre-show just to listen, and they're not picking up. They're still down. I'm in the middle of a SherWeb email outage, and we can't get any transparency on the problem. If you're down, say you're down. All it's going to do is make everybody angry, like myself and all of my clients. Why not be transparent? Why are they posting this, that everybody's looking at this incident report? And this is my beef. Yes, I'm not happy that there's an outage, but it's technology. Servers have problems. We know this. Nothing's perfect. You're going to have issues. And this is a valuable lesson for This is a real valuable lesson for communicating with your clients. Deliver the bad news as soon as you can. Be upfront. Now, how am I going to notify clients that there's still an email outage when I can't email them? That means I got to be on the phone and I got to start calling. And all the clients that have reached out to me today, I will follow up with phone calls in the morning. But I got another challenge. I got my wife and grandson flying in from Philadelphia tomorrow morning, and I'm picking them up at the airport. So I'm going to pass it on to Mike Jr. to make some of these phone calls. And, we're going to see what happens in the middle of the night. And hopefully mail starts flowing. I'm concerned that I have the first client that called me is a closing company that does real estate closings, and they got closings for tomorrow. It's Friday. There are secured email packets that have to be delivered, and they're not being delivered, and they got to get ready for tomorrow. And they can't use personal email because we got confidential information where they pay extra for the secured emails. I have financial advisors that are on this, that have the proof point services in front. And this is, I just thought of something. When Proofpoint can't deliver to an Exchange server, they might be able to log in to the emergency inbox of Proofpoint. And I just thought of that. And, as soon as this show is done, I'm going to test and see if that's working and have them log in that way. But that's not all my clients. That's only a small subset of the clients that have to be able to do the, have encrypted email. So, and that is this title insurance company. So, and then there's also a real estate company attached to this. It's a nightmare. I have attorneys on. I have here you go, a dental office. I haven't heard from them today, so I don't know if they're impacted or not. They probably are. Alls I know is I have not received any emails since 2:30, and it's terrible. So wait a second. Interesting. Right now, for the first time, I just received test 3. And that came in at 7:37. Trying to think when I sent that message. I sent that probably at 4 because every half hour I would send a test message because I wanted to make sure that my email is coming in. So it is slowly. Here's an email from my son, and I have to find out when he sent this. This is an email from my son, which is interesting. So as I speak, I'm a little happier. Email is starting to flow in. And what I really want to see is the first test message. That will guarantee me that nobody's lost email. Boy, what a horrible thing if you've lost email. We're now so dependent on email that your whole livelihood in business is dedicated to this. I know I couldn't operate my business without email, and a lot of my clients couldn't, but you got to hear good news as I'm doing this. So I am a lot happier right now. and feel better as I continue on with the show here. So so it is resolved, and messages are starting to flow in, and I'll send a couple more test messages after this. So very, very good. All right. Let's get on to the rest of the show. As Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. Okay. So more stories from the trenches. This week, I'd love to know how many of you have went through this with your clients. Microsoft pushed a Microsoft Office update that made all the Office apps crash. I had 3 totally separate clients on Wednesday where I had a Wednesday afternoon. They all called in, and I had to return because I was working with one that I had to call the other ones back. And I was very fortunate. The first thing I do when Office is crashing is go to the apps in the settings or in control panel, go down to where Microsoft Office is, click to modify, and you'll get an option for a quick repair and a long repair. Do the quick repair and then test. So I did the quick repair, and lo and behold, Office launched, no crashes. Outlook started working for the one client, and I said, great. And I moved on to the other 2, did the same thing, and that was the fix. So that was really good. All right. AirPlay issue. My son this week had to go to one of our clients where his wife has written 2 books on flowers, and they call it the carriage house. There's like a secondary house where they hold they have these beautiful gardens and everything, and they hold presentations. And his wife lives on Macs, and AirPlay was not working. But guess what? Verizon updated the router and did some things. And it's like, bad. Why didn't we know that? I said to my client, man, I'm dealing with so many unknowns. So he was able to get someone else's their MacBook connected, and she was able to get her presentation she had on a USB stick and was able to get it connected. My son squared it all. He had to reboot the router, make sure the IP scheme was whatever IP scheme now was being sent in that router. He had to make sure that the TV was on that the Wi-Fi, that everything is on the same network, because AirPlay doesn't work unless you are all on the same network. So once he got all that, he was like half hour, got everything fixed up the next morning. So they were happy. Continuing with Outlook, new profile needed on a Mac. And this, again, thank you, SherWeb. They have been putting me through hell where they're migrating from the Exchange 2013 servers to 2016. Now, that doesn't impact all my clients. It impacts some of them. And it's interesting today, the outage was 2016, where they're forwarding a lot of things to 2016. I bet you there was a problem there, because they've been also migrating, because Exchange 2013 in another month is becoming end of life. So they were forced to do upgrades to 2016. And that has forced me, only on the Mac clients, I've had to redo profiles. Just changing the servers, if you were on Windows, all you got to do is restart Outlook and everything's fine. You do that on the Mac, Outlook on the Mac was not behaving like Outlook for Windows. So I had to actually create new profiles for a couple users. Oh boy. All right. Let's talk about this morning. My son has to go, and this is going to involve a story about Philadelphia. My son has to go into Center City, Philadelphia. And it's normally a 20-minute drive, but he knew he had to give himself 2 hours. What? And he got there. He left at 5 a.m. and got there at 7 a.m. And it's a 20-minute drive because they were getting whole new internet services, going from Comcast to Verizon to a fiber connection, and he had to help redo everything. He was there for 6 hours. Not this morning, it was yesterday morning. And this is because of Sunday. Now, I'm still in Florida. I go back at the end of this month. On Sunday, I'm seeing Facebook from everybody that's in the Philadelphia area, and you might have heard this because it became national news. I-95, the major corridor going through Philadelphia, collapsed. An area collapsed that there only one death, and that was the truck driver who crashed underneath the bridge in I-95, and it burned all night and into the morning. The burning was so bad from this tanker that it destroyed the southbound I-95, and the northbound is impacted because it's too weak. So to close, I don't know how many cars, but it's some ridiculous amount that travels on this every day. This has completely disrupted the city. This is the one thing I am not looking forward to in going back, which is dealing with every major artery is impacted because of the volume of not being able to use I-95. It is catastrophic from a driving standpoint. So that's been a problem. It's taking so long and so much and so much time. So let's okay. Oh, I just got the first test message has come in that I sent when I first realized the outage. So at 3 p.m. when I sent myself a test message. So that just arrived, and I am so glad because that means there's no loss of mail as far as I can determine right now. So that's good. Let me keep going here. Things that I've been working on this week. Been a busy week, including Sunday. So I get a call, and I look at my phone, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're a good client. I'm going to call them. So she had a business that closed up and everything, and we take care of her home now and she bought a new printer, and I helped her get it connected, but there was still a problem, and she must have either the cartridge was broken or when she inserted it, she broke it, and everything I got set up, but it couldn't print a test page because of the error, and it was the magenta cartridge, and she couldn't even get it out. And I walked her through. This is like an Epson multifunction inkjet. She was able to move it, and she was like, oh my gosh, the cartridge is broke. I said, okay, look, you just bought this. Get your receipt. Go back to Staples where she bought it. I said, they'll swap that out. I said, and then you just pop that in, everything will work. So in the afternoon, she must have went, this is Sunday morning, I'm helping her, and she went, and they did. They gave her a new one. She put it in, boom, up and running. So that was cool. Something that I've been working on for the last couple weeks, cyber insurance policies have been coming up for renewal. So there's new questionnaires on security, and some of the answers to those questions are generating policies that have to be written. So I've been in policy mode. I have been just gone crazy working on security policies for clients. And again, if you ever need help with this, then you can hire me from MHS Consulting. Just email me at, miketechshow@gmail.com, or now my mhsconsulting.net email is working, mike@mhsconsulting.net. Email me and give me the best phone number to call you. I'll reach out and we could do this remotely, and I can assist you with getting your security policies. I helped Doug Betts with a couple of his clients and have been great. He's been quiet, but I know he listens regularly. I watch his show when he does it on YouTube. So I've helped a bunch of listeners and lots of clients in getting their security policies all in line so they're compliant and they can have their cyber insurance policy approved. So that's very, very important. Couple things. And Bob emailed me, and this is about juice jacking. Boy, I can't believe how many emails I've gotten. And this is a follow-up from Bob, and he says, I just listened to your last podcast you did on the 4 emails, the last one on juice jacking. I was the one who sent you the first email on this topic, and I have a few more items to pass on. But first, I'd like you to watch this video, and this is a video that I'll have a link to on a news report. You had also mentioned that modern smartphones now alert users when data is being transferred. Well, that was according to the ARS Technica article. However, there are still lots of people out there that don't have modern phones, so they don't have this feature. That is an excellent point. Kate brought up some good points in her emails, but being a very skeptical individual and coming from an electronics background before I became involved in computers and networking, I made sure my data blockers were legit. Some of the data blockers are physically missing the pins that carry the data, so you can visually identify the data pins are missing. Another way to test the device is to plug your phone directly into your computer without going through the data blocker. This can be done on both USB and USB-C devices. Then verify that you can open your phone as a drive. In Windows, it should show up in Windows Explorer. Now unplug your phone and then plug it back into your computer using the data blocker. Look for your phone in Explorer and verify that it's not there. As long as you can't see the phone, the data blocker is working. I should have mentioned this when I started down this road here. Juice jacking was reported that if you go into a public USB port, it may not be safe. And you should get a data blocker to block the malware or block some bad things happening, and plug that in first. And they're cheap. And then plug your phone or device, whatever you're going to charge. And there's a lot of debate on whether this is really a thing or not. So he continues, I also agree with you on connecting to Bluetooth. I will never connect anything outside my house unless it is a device that I own. Yes, that is great advice. Kate also said that this may not be a real threat, but even so, every threat is theoretical until it isn't. And when we find out about a new attack in the wild, the data will already have been stolen. I have attached a few more URLs on the subject so you can read through them and decide for yourself. Great response. And I got another one from Derek. Mike, just listen to your latest podcast. I believe a good test for the data blocking dongle for an iPhone. Open iTunes, connect it to your computer via USB and dongle, and see if it is recognized. I had an Android phone once, and when I plugged it into my Windows machine, recognized it as an additional device in the same manner. I don't know if this is still the case through which a current Android device since I switched to Apple years ago. Hope this helps. Derek, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I want to demonstrate. This was from Chris. Chris sent 2 emails. He uses Hekasoft Backup and Restore to backup Chrome, Thunderbird, Firefox, and Microsoft Edge. It's free, and as far as I can tell, it backs up the profile and therefore gets everything needed. He also, I'm going to demonstrate that. He also has another email that I am going to put this link in the show notes. Does everybody remember a couple years ago? It was right after the Super Bowl when it was in Tampa. And this was in 2021. And there was a little town outside of Tampa that the water department was compromised and hacked. And it was an employee that found that this level was being changed, and he corrected it, and they were putting it on TeamViewer, and that was compromised. Well, the FBI finally came to a conclusion, and it was an employee making it all up to cover up his mistakes. So very, very interesting. You know, it's funny how we blame hacking, or we blame, it's so easy to blame something else. When there's a problem in the support world, when in doubt, blame Microsoft, right? Blame a Microsoft update, and I've been there and I've done that, but it's not always an update, although a lot of the time it is. But, driver updates, everything, it's amazing. But with the hacking, that's very, very interesting. So I'm going to display the links. Taz, yes. Well, when in doubt on a network issue, it is DNS. Okay. Hekasoft. So this is cute. Wait till you see, there is the Hekasoft Backup and Restore that Chris mentions, but there's also Hekapad and Hekasoft Password Generator and Passkeeper. So there's a few things here. So what I have done is I've downloaded the Hekasoft Backup and Restore. So let's demonstrate this. And I am launching the Hekasoft Backup. And if you take a look at select the software, there's a lot going on here. CCleaner, Scent Browser, Komodo Ice Dragon, EM Client. How about that? Google Chrome. There's FileZilla. I live on FileZilla, so of course I used it and tested that on my machine. There's a large amount of software here, but if you just need like Google Chrome and Firefox, so we're going to go Google Chrome. I'm not going to password protect the backup, and we're going to click Start. Where do I want to save it? Well, I'm saving it right where the default was, and it's spinning its wheels as it is backing up the Chrome profiles. And there's a Firefox one, and I was going to do that, but I don't think it can back it up while I have it running. So I'm not running Chrome on my test machine here, but I am running Firefox. You get the picture. So now let's go to Florida City water cyber incident allegedly caused by employee error. Very interesting. And I read through this, and because it was pretty ugly. When you're watching MSNBC in the evening, or CNN, oh, look, little message, the backup is complete. Little pop-up, that was cool. And you hear that the water was possibly compromised and hacked, and it's this little town outside of Tampa. And they were, and then they went to commercial to be back with the story. And I was like, oh man, what little town outside of Tampa? Well, it was my town of Oldsmar. So this is an interesting read. Chris, thank you so much, man, for sending me that. I really, really, really appreciate it. One final link. And this happened to be in an email that Kate sent. I don't think she meant for me to be talking about this link, but I had to because it's on this day. So this is pretty cool. onthisday.com, you can enter an event, a date, a name of a person. So all days. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick 17th. And nothing really happened on my birth date. So November, and then 1960. Yes, I am 62 years old. And the new MLB Washington franchise is awarded to Elwood Casada. Famous birthdays: Jonathan Ross, Kirk Fogg, host of Legends of the Hidden Temple. I don't even know. And the talk show, The Tall Guy. So that's what happened on November 17th, 1960. Pretty cool if you have a birth date or maybe a family member and you want to check on events or who died, who was born, and, just something cool as you're referencing for the birth date. I like that. Very, very nice. So I want to thank everybody for emailing me. And before I go, what are you using to back up your client's data? This week, I have a story to wrap up here. So I have a couple churches we have for support. And early in the week, my son had to go to a church that the pastor's machine shares out the data to the rest of the office. And it wouldn't start. And before he went there, I told my son, I said, tell the pastor, what would he do if the hard drive crashed and was dead and all the data is gone forever? I said, just ask the question very nicely, very softly, just like that. And he did. And the expression on the pastor said, what do you recommend? And he said, well, my dad and I, we've recommended stuff in the past because we always want to see backups. And nobody wanted to pay the money. Now, I discount everything for a church because I get it and we're nice. And, I don't know what your beliefs are, but if there is an afterlife, I want to be looked on fondly. So we take care of them. And he said, send me how much, what it involves, and, we will do that. He got everything up and running because the BIOS just needed to be, it wasn't recognizing the hard drive. So he got it up and running, but also made the point. And I installed MagnusBox. He gave the approval right away. I put MagnusBox on with just the file folder backup because, yes, I'm grabbing everything there on the desktop and the documents folder and everything. But the main thing is that shared directory. It's now in the cloud and it's backing up every night. Peace of mind. Inexpensive and reliable. And that's what MagnusBox is. That's the point. And I've just shared, that's how you sell it. That's what you do. You go in and you just calmly bring up the worst case scenario. What if that's gone forever? What are you doing? And even if someone says, hey, I have this local hard drive, well, what if that's crashed? What if that doesn't work? Because it's not being monitored. And that's something else that you get to say, look, I'm monitoring the backups because there's a dashboard that is one single pane of glass where you can get all the activity for all your clients that are backing up. I've got 80 devices that are being backed up every night, servers, workstations, anything that's important. So I can't stress, go to magnusbox.com, check out the trial, and then when you sign up, tell them you heard it on the Mike Tech Show. You're going to get free white labeling. You're going to get $100 off your first invoice and half the platform fee for your first 3 months just by mentioning that you heard it here. So that's awesome. Hopefully you'll take advantage of that. Don't forget, check out YouTube. for all my videos, and that is youtube.com/MichaelSmithMTS. That's it for tonight's show. There will be no show next week because I'm attending the ASCII convention Wednesday and Thursday in St. Pete. I mentioned this weekend, tomorrow, I got to get up early. I'm picking up my wife and my oldest grandson. That's Michael Smith III. Picking him up. They're going to be here for this weekend, which is great. So just having fun, but was stressed out. And now I'm a lot happier. And anybody that was following, if you noticed the beginning of the show, I was pretty stressed out and pretty angry. And now that mail's flowing through SherWeb, I am significantly happier. And I know I didn't lose any mail because I sent a test message the minute I learned. And that's another troubleshooting tactic that you should also do, especially something involving email. Like every half hour, call it test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. So this way, when mail starts flowing, hey, was anything lost? And you get an idea of when, that something might have been lost. So I have to check in with clients tomorrow, making sure they're receiving all their emails like they should, and hopefully everything's fine. That's it. So see everybody in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.